Hey there, my name's Niandra, welcome to my Q&A video and thank you to everyone who submitted a question. If I missed yours, feel free to message me privately about it. I'm done with uni, I have free time again, let's start this. Question: is there any tips and tricks you can share to make your voice heard? I feel like whenever I try to shot call in competitive, I get ignored, even though I know the team can hear me, they're in voice, they reacted to me speaking, etc. I like to keep these two things in mind. Unless they're throwing, your allies are on your side and they do not want you to die, and everyone on your team is playing a role and has their own job. Sometimes an ally might just be preoccupied rather than ignoring you. To be heard, it's really important to be as clear as possible. As I said in my guide, try saying things like Tracer on payload or Soldier right or McCree in hotel rather than just shouting like help 5 times in a row, for example. Also, try to be early if the call out relates to you being attacked. If Mercy waits until Winston has brought her down to like 40 health before asking for help, her team has less than a second to react. But if Mercy was on higher ground and Winston was looking at her and you know he's about to jump, that would give her team good time to react. Another thing I like to do is engage my team and ask questions, like, hey guys, what ults do you currently think they have? Generally do this in the downtime between fights when they aren't focusing on combat. Question: Symmetra's rework and being moved to the defense category. In short, interesting. Blizzard did decide to call the category support, not healer, so I am in favour of them exploring that in different ways, but it is hard to think of a support that doesn't heal that can just be in the defense category. I've always liked running Symmetra in the DPS slot on defense and taking 2 healers, preferably a main one like Mercy and then Zenyatta. I've had matches where Sim is placed in the support slot and we lose the first point and then they swap to Zenyatta and Lucio. However, at this point the enemy usually has ults like Soldier, Genji, Zarya. You know, shit that needs Transcendence or Sound Barrier to block, but obviously we don't have that and we're not near having it. A tweet was posted visualising what Symmetra's new shield ultimate could look like. Keep in mind, there's nothing to stop you from just walking through this. At plat and below, tanks play very passively. They're not quite allergic to pressing W, but it is very easy for an attack team to just stay behind the choke point for 4 minutes and not even touch the point. In Masters and above, teams generally respect enemy shields a lot less, especially when they're attacking. Anyway, I try not to judge things too early, so we'll have to see. I gotta be honest, I'm not 100% sure more shields is healthy for Overwatch, but Question: opinions on Mercy's kit in general and if I'd change anything. Got a few questions like this. I really want Mercy being able to lose her own res gun. It feels so fucking bad. And what's funny is Valkyrie makes it even easier to mess up. If I res during Valkyrie, my ult is essentially 13.25 seconds long, which is a sufficient trade. Although, it would be nice if res paused the timer. Anyway, I think Blizzard kinda glossed over this losing your own res thing. At least allow us to cancel it by choice, you know? It just sucks so much because it usually happens in the middle of a fight when you need it the most. I would like just one of the 4 Valkyrie nerfs to be reverted, res related preferably, but I'd take anything here. Overall, I think Mercy is in a solid spot. A lot of the Overwatch community seems to see things in black and white. A character is either amazing or trash. Mercy fits nicely in the middle and is good without being required. I still think she's super fun, although it is very easy to have an ineffective Valkyrie. Question: my favourite heroes apart from Mercy and who else I play. For DPS, I really enjoy Sombra and Tracer. According to Overbuff, I generally hover around the 350th quick play Sombra, which is pretty good. I would love to try her in comp on an ult count at one point, but I'm just way too nervous. In competitive, I play a lot of Lucio, who is my 2nd overall highest played with just over 100 hours. I love Lucio, especially if you can play him a bit aggressively, like booping and speed boosting and hitting enemies a lot. If I had to main someone else, it would be my good speedy boy, or Zenyatta probably. Question: my favourite Mercy skins? Winged Victory is obviously my favourite, excluding that it would be Witch and Classic. Question: why do I main Mercy / what made you wanna play Mercy? Before Overwatch, I played a lot of Team Fortress 2. My 2 favourite characters were Sniper and Medic. In TF2, nobody wanted to play Medic, but having one on your team while the enemy didn't was such a big advantage. When I started playing Overwatch, I looked for heroes that felt familiar. When I first tried Mercy, I was just like, holy shit, they've perfected my boy! I love this. Also, Mercy's design is just really nice and appealing. Question: how do I climb as Mercy / what's the #1 thing to master as Mercy? I'm going to combine these 2 questions because they cross over a lot. I have an alt account at Platinum. I haven't played it in a long time, but when I did, my win rate with Mercy was between 60 and 80%. I was talking with my friend about how I didn't feel like I was carrying despite winning most games, and he said I provide the most consistent healing you'll see at this rank. I would say two key things are consistency and just staying alive, especially when there's multiple enemies after you. Mercy is a hero who can still do her job while being attacked, and that's very useful to take advantage of. Positioning, ult prediction, and general game sense are all critical skills to climb as Mercy. I knew how Platinum players thought and could play around them. Basically, minimise deaths and aim to have a better game sense than the average player at your rank. Bonus points if you can translate that into appropriate shot calling. Also, use damage boost more. Question, when should I Pharmercy? There's always a Pharah from time to time that asks for pocketing. She might be good, but the enemy team switches to hit scans or already has hit scans. Should I stop pocketing Pharah and heal everyone on the ground that's barely being healed by our DPS Moira, or keep pocketing her? Oh my god, I had a loss recently where our Pharah kept getting hit by like Soldier and Diva while our Zenyatta was being repeatedly harassed by Tracer, and I just could not balance between the two. When my team has Pharah, instead of purely pocketing her, I personally prefer using her to position myself in the air while attending to everyone on the team equally. This allows for a nice balance and allows me to do my job a bit safer. As the match goes on, I get a better understanding of my second healer's abilities and what we're up against, and can adjust my priorities accordingly. I'm not saying never pocket Pharah, just make sure you've got an eye on everyone else. I've had Pharahs get mad at me for not pocketing them, and don't be afraid to say, look, I'm not intentionally ignoring you, I'll try to give you a bit more attention, but the team's taking a lot of damage. This wording lets them know I'm not being malicious, I'll try harder, and have reasoning behind my decision. Question, if you're staggered as Mercy, what do you do? Like if the enemy's killing you very slowly, should you just take it? If they leave you behind a point without killing you, what do you do? Is there any way to get them to kill you faster? If you're on a map with a pit, try to jump off it, otherwise you can usually force the enemy team into killing you by attacking one of them, preferably their own support like Mercy or Zenyatta. Question, who do you like as a secondary support? My favourite healer to pair with Mercy is Zenyatta. He provides a defensive ultimate and Transcendence feels just a tiny bit more consistent than Sound Barrier, even though it doesn't block burst damage like Pulse Bomb or Riptire. That being said, I like pairing Mercy with anyone, but I'm a bit wary with Ana. Question, a lot of YouTubers and casual gamers are leaving Overwatch for other games. Do you ever feel like quitting for good? Overwatch has its flaws. I've become quite jaded with the overall map design lately, and I'm wary of the way Blizzard balances things. They really like changing 3 or more things about a character at once every 4 months, instead of like frequent smaller updates. Overall, I still very much enjoy the game, even if I'm not putting in the 8 hours a night I used to. I don't think I'll be quitting anytime soon, and I think the people who say the game is dead or Blizzard is ruining it are a little overdramatic. Question, how do you stay motivated, especially after a bad loss streak or super toxic game? Remember, every single player has gone on a losing streak at one point. It doesn't necessarily reflect on you, although that doesn't mean you shouldn't be examining your own plays. It happens, and you should have confidence in yourself to get back to where you were. It helps to know when to stop and or take a break, even if it's just a 5-minute one. A lot of people recommend stopping for the night after 2 losses, and I think that's a great mindset to follow. I've had plenty of toxic games, I've been full on yelled at before. It sucks, and this might sound weird, but I think being honest and critical of yourself kinda helps. Say at the end of the game, an ally's like, oh, our Mercy was shit. I'll be there thinking, okay, to be fair, I did fuck up a few times, I shouldn't have attempted some of those reses. That being said, our Diva also made a lot of mistakes, and our ult economy was pretty poor. Very rarely is a loss the fault of one player, and usually it's a team effort, so I just continue to focus on self-improvement. Also, at the end of the day, it's a fucking video game. I'm gonna try my best to win, but it's not the end of the world if we don't, and people who feel the need to go out of their way to shit on others in a really malicious way clearly have some real life issues going on, and I wish them the best in learning to communicate in a healthy way. Question, how to play Mercy with an unorganized team or a tankless team? If you look on the bright side, an unorganized team usually means you have lots of fly routes because allies are split up, which can actually be pretty beneficial. Granted, this means nothing if the team is staggering, but hey! I would recommend getting on voice, attempt to play shot caller, and try not to be put off when only met with silence. As for the no tank thing, it actually can work if everyone on your team is a DPS main and competent, if you're outputting more damage than the enemy team can handle. With unorganized team, I try to look for our, I don't like this word, but carry DPS, or just the player who seems the most competent. Hopefully it's a Soldier or McCree, and I don't necessarily pocket them, but I definitely give them a bit more attention. Question, how many golden weapons do you have? 11. I have Mercy, Ana, Lucio, Zenyatta, Moira, Brigitte, Tracer, Diva, Sombra, Soldier, and Winston. Question, difference between GM and Master Mercy players. I'm going to be honest with you, although I am Grandmaster right now, I didn't actually hit it last season, partly not having a PC, but also because I just could not get my win rate above 50%. Looking at my VODs, here's a few things I noticed. 1. A lot of my losses have a high death count. On 2CP, this isn't the worst as you tend to throw your corpse at the point to stall. I've also had matches where the enemy focuses me, kills me, but my team still wins most of the fights. So, high deaths can sometimes be brushed off, but most of the time it is a big factor, especially if it's res related. 2. I would get myself killed with bad resurrects. I would get cocky and attempt reses I knew were dangerous. I would also not communicate before doing so, expecting my team to automatically help me, which is pretty entitled. 3. A lot of my Valkyries were ineffective. This was because I didn't communicate them, and now I always tell my team. I also noticed I would do it when my team was split up and only 1 or 2 people were in my beam, decreasing its potential. Now this isn't always a bad thing, but in my case I was doing it too early. I also started being a lot more cautious during fights where my team had already used 1 or more ults, asking myself on defense especially, do we really need this or can I save it for the next fight? And lastly, although I consider my positioning to generally be very good, occasionally I would get stuck in the middle of a fight instead of being on the outskirts. Question, when is it worth it to fly into a fight to try and res? Also, initiate or mid-fight with the new Valkyrie. Flying into a ball of people to attempt a res is extremely dangerous, but not impossible, especially with Reinhardt and Zarya currently being meta. I would only do it if I had sufficient cover, like if we were all around the payload for example. You would also have to gauge how distracted the enemy team was as well. As for the Valkyrie thing, both of those uses are perfectly fine. I like initiating when the team is about to push through a choke point, like the gate of Hanamura. I'll use it mid-fight if multiple allies are low to mid-health but the fight still looks good in our favour, or I feel the damage boost will significantly help. Question, how many hours do you have on Mercy? Over 3 accounts, I have 683 hours, fucking hell. Question, do I think damage boost is underused? Yes I do. I've been saying this since the days of Mercy 1.0 when I made my first guide. Question, what are my settings for Mercy? Guardian Angel prefers beam target is disabled, the other 2 are on. I know many great and well-respected Mercy players have preferred beam target on, all the power to them, but I personally find it very crippling. There has been so many times where I'm attending to an ally while repositioning to another one, and I wouldn't be able to do that. I have seen Mercies do cool shit with it turned on, where they jump off ledges and slingshot back, and that's really rad, but to me doesn't justify it. Question, would you prioritise Rezzing a support with ult or Reinhardt with Earthshatter? Above all else, I would prioritise the safest. Excluding that, I'm not really sure, sorry. I've kind of avoided talking about res prioritisation because it's so situational. Like, do you feel you're okay solo healing? Would Earthshatter likely get blocked by enemy shields? Do you think Genji's about to ult? Like, Question, what are the best supports at the moment in your opinion? I often want to play main healer but find myself only playing Mercy because she is the most versatile. Moira seems only good for comps that stay close together and Ana is just too immobile to survive dive comps. As a Mercy main, I am obviously biased in my answer but I think you nailed it in the question. I feel like the only bad healer is Ana and the rest are just solid picks. Mercy will always be a solid pick, as long as she can pump out 60 health per second for an infinite amount of time and reposition every 2 seconds. That being said, Moira is still great. She has a strong AoE healing while Mercy is single target outside of her ult, although Mercy probably does fit into more comps. Question, what do you think of the idea of a Mercy revert with no immunity frames, or rather 50% damage reduction, or an E Valkyrie? Mercy 1.0 had immunity frames because she'd be alone, res her team, and just kind of be a sitting duck while allies were frozen in the animation. A lack of immunity frames would discourage 5-man resurrections and encourage 2 to 3, maybe 4-man ults, which is actually pretty interesting. I honestly think Valkyrie would be OP as an E ability, like being able to frequently reposition and chain beam would be insane. If it was moved, the cooldown would have to be pretty significant. I don't think I want Mercy to be reverted, but if she was, I would definitely want some form of E ability. Question, what is your highest rank and when you got this rank? My highest rank is 4,307. I got this during Season 5 just before Mercy's rework came out. The highest I've reached since was 4,200. Question: who is the tank you like playing with the most? Every tank is a good ally, but I like Reinhardt and Zarya the most. Both provide shields and positioning with them is generally safer than Winston D.Va. Question: do you think Sombra is bad? I think she is. I can't use my main ability, Hack. I do wish hack breaking, if enemy leaves line of sight, was a tiny bit more lenient, although maybe I'm just too used to mercies. On overbuff.com, Sombra has the lowest win rate in competitive, and god, she seems like such a hard character to balance. Like, I don't know what you do with her, to be honest. Question: what is a character you would want to main? Maybe one that you've tried but weren't good at but wish you could be better at, or think is enjoyable. Oh my god, I've been playing a little bit of McCree on stream and like, I'm so trash, but I occasionally have moments where I'm decent, and oh my god, I would love to be able to play that at like a decent level. Question: what to do when the DPS aren't getting kills? Everyone's going to have matches where the DPS just flat out isn't good. There isn't a whole lot we can do about it, so let's not focus on that. So, try to figure out why your DPS aren't getting kills. Are the character choices bad? Reaper and Junkrat have a hard time against Pharah. Are our tanks making space effectively? McCree can't do much if Reinhardt's just standing at the choke point. In Overwatch, pretty much every character is countered by being focused, so try to get your team all attacking the same target. Alternatively, you could try focusing on enabling your tanks with healing and damage boost, like if you're running Zarya and Reinhardt, both of them do have fight-winning ults. Question: who do I pick when Mercy is taken, and my most 3-played characters? I generally pick Lucio. My top 3 are Mercy, Lucio, Anna, and thank you very much for the kind words. I'm going to wrap this up here. Thank you so much for watching, and to everyone who submitted questions, again, feel free to message me privately if I did miss yours, although there was a couple I just didn't feel qualified to answer. Have a nice day.